Brought to you by Cytracom. Welcome to Connecting the Channel. Here we talk with industry leaders on successes, failures, and lessons learned along the way.
Awesome. I'll kind of kick it off now. I said, first of all, welcome to our first episode of the Connecting the Channel podcast. I'm Noah Sessions, Vice President of Marketing, and welcome Crystal Mcferran, the Chief Marketing Officer of the 20. Hey, Crystal, how you doing?
Hey, Noah. I'm great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. So I guess, starting off, I'm pretty familiar with the 20, but I'd love for you to kind of tell us about the 20 in your words. I mean, kind of describe the 20 and what you guys do for MSPs and kind of what's your mission.
Absolutely. So the 20 is basically a group of MSPs who have come together to grow and scale. And so we solve three challenges that all MSPs face, and that's lead gen, sales, and scale. So we provide all the tools for them in order to grow their MSP.
Awesome. And, really the topic today, and I want to dive more into this, obviously it's marketing during a pandemic. But I mean, obviously we were talking earlier about the pandemic, but how has that impacted you guys and your mission and what you're doing? How have you guys had to pivot this year?
I think like everyone else, we have absolutely had to pivot and kind of step back and look at the way, that we're marketing. The good thing is that marketing is always changing. It's always growing. It's always evolving. And so I think as a marketer, we were probably more prepared than most for this. But I think it's an opportunity to reset, to shift your mindset from what you can be doing towards what you should be doing and really focus on what is going to drive bottom line results. And so that's what we've done here at the 20, and that's what we've helped our members do.
Awesome. I guess, through this, what's been the toughest part of marketing over the last, 6 months for you guys? Because I guess this pandemic's really taken place over the last 6 months. So it's really impacted businesses. But what's been the hardest part for you guys?
I think the hardest part was probably initially, I think that a lot of businesses were somewhat frozen or paralyzed and they weren't really sure what was going to happen next, like most of us. And so a lot of MSPs stepped back and kind of reevaluated things. And I think that they were quieter than normal and not as, interactive. I think that after a few months passed, everyone kind of realized, okay, this is the new norm. And so, we started to see a lot more engagement, but I think for a while that was a huge challenge, just that everyone was, kind of paralyzed somewhat.
Right. And I guess on that note, you obviously talk to a lot of MSPs every day in your whole organization, but what would you tell any MSPs listening today? They're struggling with their marketing. What advice would you give for them?
I would tell them, number one, market. You have to market. If you don't market, you will not grow. I mean, a lot of them have started an MSP and had new clients come in through word of mouth, but that's only going to last for so long. It is going to plateau. And so really, again, I know I say this over and over and over, you have to market. It's hard for a lot of MSPs to wrap their head around or really to change the way they view marketing. And I think in order to be successful, you have to view marketing as an investment and not an expense. And so, once you realize that, another thing is, we've been telling them 2020 is not a forgotten year. You still have all the same opportunity that you do in other years. And if not, even more, with everyone moving to work from home, we've seen a lot of opportunity come up, new clients, clients that are wanting to move to the cloud. And so there's ample opportunity for MSPs out there, but you have to market to get in front of your audience.
And I know you guys do a lot of work to help your partners that are part of the 20. Has there been any toolkits or anything you guys have built them to capitalize on this work from home?
So within the 20, we have the marketing program, and it's basically a fully outsourced marketing, what it sounds like, fully outsourced marketing program for MSPs. So we do everything from email campaigns, social media, video production, content, and really give them all the tools that they need to market and to be successful. We also provide, as I'm sure you guys do, collateral that they can co-brand and use to market. So we have a portal where we house all of that.
Absolutely. And I know one thing I want to say, you guys have done a great job. I'm definitely seeing you all on my feeds, both from like your social movement stuff earlier, and I definitely said a lot of the 20, but I guess, and maybe I don't know enough, you guys obviously create the content for your partners to fill their social feeds up with things about offerings they can do. Is that how some of the marketing services you guys do offer?
We do. So we create everything for them in the marketing program. And then for everyone else, all of our members, we provide a portal where they can go in and they can find marketing content and, change it up a little bit, co-brand it, and really make it their own. We also encourage them to use the resources that other vendors have provided. If you look, Kaseya has powered services. As I mentioned, I know Cytracom has a lot of great content. But we tell them to take advantage of this free content that is out there available to them and brand it.
Maybe taking a step back, I'd love to learn more of your story, Crystal. I know you've got the Forbes Technology Council you brought and all the cool stuff you've done since I've known you at the 20, but kind of tell us what led you to this point, to CMO at the 20, a little bit of your history on things you've done to get you to this point.
Sure, Noah. So I started out in traditional marketing, worked at a couple of very large companies like HP and Accor. I eventually was recruited by Tim Conkle for Roland Technology Group, his MSP. And for anyone not familiar, the 20 is actually built upon the success of Roland. So Roland is a very successful, highly profitable, ever-growing MSP. And so Tim hired me as his first marketing hire at Roland about, I believe, 9 years ago.
Okay.
And so I came on board there, created really a digital presence for Roland and, all the pieces that they needed to market their MSP. I left there, started a marketing company, marketing consulting that was acquired. And then I started another one. And then I was eventually recruited by a competitor of Roland, an MSP here in Dallas. And then I found myself back at the 20 about 2 years ago.
Awesome. Well, you guys are doing a great job. And that's a great kind of good history to get you where you are. I mean, I think obviously everybody has to learn and grow as they go, which is great.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it gives me that unique perspective where not only a marketer, but because I've been a business owner, I understand the challenges that they face.
Yeah, it's interesting, the mix of obviously, kind of the corporate world you're in, but you bring that, you've been an entrepreneur, which is a key thing. Because if you think about, obviously these MSPs, a lot of, they're all entrepreneurs, right? And
right.
You bring that to the table, which is great. Well, cool. Thanks for kind of catching some of that. I guess, one thing, you and I have known each other for a couple of years now. We've, spent time on the road at all these events. How's the 20 adjusted to no in-person events this year?
We love people just like y'all. We all really miss in-person events, getting to network and talk to people face to face. So it's been a new experience for all of us. And we've enjoyed the virtual events that we've done. We did Virtual Vision online this year. And so that was kind of cool to have almost like a gaming experience and get to walk around and see people and talk to them. But it's not the same as face-to-face. So we're very much looking forward to in-person events resuming.
What's your prediction? Like, obviously, it seems like COVID numbers are rising, obviously. So this pandemic's definitely not over. But what's your prediction for like the next year? When do you think we'll all be back on the road again?
It's my hope that by early spring that, things will start to somewhat normalize. I think that it's still going to be, different than it has been in years past. But I think that we'll start to get somewhat back to normal. And we're definitely looking forward to having a live conference, a live vision next year, September.
Yeah. And on that note, obviously, I thought you guys did a great job with the virtual vision, as I call it this year. Obviously everybody's had to adjust, but what are you, anything you can reveal to us you're planning for 2021, or is it all kind of still secret stuff under the wraps?
It's pretty much under wraps right now, but it's going to be bigger and better than ever. Virtual was awesome. We loved having Gary Vee, Mark Manson. And so we definitely set the bar high and we plan to deliver.
Speaking of Gary Vee, did you actually get to talk to him before the event?
I did. So I don't know if you saw the session. I did a Q&A session with him. It was awesome. I got to ask all my burning marketing questions, and he had a lot of really great actionable feedback for MSPs. And we've actually taken some of the tactics that he had suggested, particularly when he talks about volume. And you'd mentioned at the beginning of this that you'd seen our content quite a bit. And so we've really stepped it up and tried to, make sure that we're posting throughout the day and not just once a day or a few times a week.
Well, tell us a little bit about Gary Vee. What did you think about him and your interactions?
He was incredible. I think that a lot of people are overhyped. He's not one of them. He's definitely, earned all of the hype that he gets. And it was really cool to hear his perspective on the 20. He said that it was just such a forward thinking idea. And, this idea of coming together with people who historically would be your competitors, because that's what the 20 is a group of MSPs who, for all intents and purposes, are competitors, but they've come together and realized that they can't survive or thrive on an island. And so it was cool to hear his response to that and just say, this is really awesome. We're going to see more of this in the next 30 years. So that was cool. And just to get, his feedback on marketing and social media and hear, what are the things that you continue to see people do wrong, areas of opportunity, perspective. And so it was a great conversation.
And I guess I know you kind of mentioned the volume, but kind of give us 3 takeaways from Gary Vee that maybe folks listening can maybe use to improve their marketing as they grow their businesses.
So volume would be number 1. And he shared a resource. I'll have to look at what that is. It was basically a how-to guide that he's put together. But it's just volume. He talks about initially in our, Q&A session, he told me be posting at least 4 times a day. And I thought, oh, wow, okay, 4, that's a lot. And then by the time he dove into that, he said that was conservative, honestly. And he said 100 times a day. And that's, for small business, that's extremely difficult. I think for big corporations, yeah, go for it. But we've really stepped it up. And so, I think that for MSPs, if they could post, if they're not posting at all, they need to be posting, period. So, and then from there, just volume, you can recycle the same content, chop it up, take the resources that, the 20 provides, that other vendors provide, use that to create social posts. I know that it seems pretty daunting creating this huge amount of content, but you have so much that you can build from and take from. So volume would be number 1. Number 2 would probably just be the importance of social media, particularly LinkedIn for MSPs. And we've seen that here as well. We've actually had MSPs, drive new business through LinkedIn. But that does not mean just getting on LinkedIn and spamming, you're used to this as well. In the DMs, you get just, here's my whole spiel on how great my company is. Can I schedule a call with you? And so get creative when you think about doing this. When you think about using LinkedIn, number 1, you want to be engaging with their content as well, not just posting. So make sure that you're obviously connected with your prospects, engage with their content, and then get creative. You're going to send them a message. Why not send them a video message or you can send an audio message. And then 3, let's see, from Gary Vee. He talks about being, how successful businesses have to be relevant to their customers. They have to be unique versus the competition, and they have to be credible and attainable. And I think that all of those things can be accomplished or communicated through your marketing. And so I think that good marketing is going to differentiate you. It's going to communicate your value. And so it's just about creating content consistently.
Cool. And I know you mentioned LinkedIn. Like, from my perspective, I do see a lot of Facebook. I mean, is that like, how do you rank the social media platforms? It sounds like LinkedIn's where people should be, but Facebook, Instagram, I know there's TikTok, there's all others. I struggle with those. What are your thoughts on that for your partners?
So, like I said, LinkedIn for me, for B2B, LinkedIn is really where it's at. For these MSPs, I would say LinkedIn and Facebook. And the cool thing is once you've already created that content in the post, it's no extra work. And if you're using a scheduling platform or something like Buffer, you can load up this content in there and go ahead and have it post to Facebook, to LinkedIn, to Twitter. So you're covering all your bases without doing any extra work. Instagram is great as well. I think that Instagram, and we have a TikTok. Instagram and TikTok have been great for the 20 in terms of employer branding and recruiting, and just really getting to have fun and share our culture. I've seen MSPs do that as well. But I would focus primarily on LinkedIn and Facebook.
On some of the stuff you create with your marketing output, do you actually create the posts for them to use, or do you give them templates, or how do you do that usually?
So for anyone in the marketing program, we do provide that content. So we use an app that has it all ready for them. They basically go in and they see content that's available. It already has a caption, it already has hashtags, and they basically just click a button.
Does it have like, if it's video or images, does it have everything they need?
Yes.
And I know you're real involved with Forbes and everything else. Like who in your mind is like killing it in marketing right now?
I get asked that question all the time, and I usually say Gary Vee. Gary Vee, number one. I just think as a marketer, he's just got it down. You know what I mean? And he's everywhere. And I think that's half the battle is just getting your content out there. And so everything that he's saying about volume really makes sense. So I say Gary Vee. Dave Gerhardt, if you're familiar with him, he was previously at Drift. He's at Privy now. He's a marketer that I follow on LinkedIn, puts out amazing content. He has a paid group as well where he puts out content. But he's probably, I would say, one of the top marketers. He was at HubSpot. And so he's just another, phenomenal marketer. And I would say check him out on LinkedIn.
Who do you, from the other vendor perspective in the MSP channel, is anybody you like there from their marketing that you've seen?
ID Agent has done a great job. I think that Matt Solomon has been awesome, about getting out there and getting in front of people. You see him all the time on LinkedIn as well. And so I would say their marketing content has been awesome. Huntress is really looking at where they were a year ago and where they are now, just all around, but definitely in terms of marketing, they're putting out some killer marketing. And the cool thing about that is if you're a Huntress partner, you have access to a lot of that marketing that they've created that's really cool, and you get to brand it.
And one thing, we always struggle with, I don't know, how do you guys handle, like, it's great the volume and everything, but how do you measure success? What's kind of the goalpost for you to see you're winning there?
Right. And that's a challenge. A lot of people look at it and they're looking at the wrong things when it comes to success. They're just looking at numbers of likes or follows or engagement. And so for me, it always dials back to pipeline and to revenue. Obviously, we talk a lot in marketing about multi-touch attribution and how it's difficult to attribute a lead because someone may have, seen a post by a vendor who was at Vision, and then they read a blog, and then they saw, something on social. And so trying to pinpoint that, I think it's more difficult. But again, we just look overall at revenue and pipeline. Pipeline is the biggest thing for us. And I think for the MSPs that we're marketing for as well, it's also pipeline.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. And, we talked obviously about shows earlier. I know you had Virtual Vision. I guess I'm not really close enough. Have you guys been doing the circuit with Channel Pro and Robin Robbins, other people like that, all these virtual events as well this year?
We have. We've done the Channel Pro events. Some of the events that we've really enjoyed that have been fun, but also have driven a lot of leads have been MVP Growth Fest. We did that. We did Pivot to Grow with Marketopia. And so we've done some cool things. We're participating right now in the Cybersecurity Trilogy series with ID Agent and a few others. Yeah,
I've noticed that as well. I remember we did MVP Growth Fest as well, which I thought was great.
Oh, it was an awesome event.
But, the whole thing, again, that was kind of ID Agent driven with Matt, but the content there was amazing. And,
right.
The pre-production and obviously the event itself was great. I thought that was really good. And we've played around with a little bit of that. But another question for you, which is a little bit off topic, but I know I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about the social movement and what you're doing there and kind of where you are with that. I remember we've talked about that a little bit, but has that been postponed, I guess, at this point?
The social movement has been postponed, sadly. So the social movement, for anyone listening who's not familiar, is a reality show that's basically Shark Tank meets The Apprentice, but for a social cause. So you have teams of their CEOs, industry leaders, just influencers and people who are put together on a team to solve a major social issue. So you think about like ending child illiteracy, these huge, daunting, suicide, these big, daunting social issues. And so coming together to create a financially viable business plan that is then pitched to investors. So you have 4 days to do this, and on the last day you pitch. So it's a really cool concept. I'm super duper excited about it. We have moved production back for season 2 to June of 2021.
Well, I hope obviously this pandemic has subsided by then, so you can get out there and do that.
Oh, I hope so too. I'm excited about it.
So, what are y'all's big plans for 2021? I know this is kind of planning season. What are you guys looking at big and better for the 20 next year?
We're doubling down on marketing, going all in on marketing. So we're going through right now, and I don't know if you're familiar with the story brand method. So we're going through and redoing our website and, a lot of our messaging for our email campaigns and things like that, to really refine our message. So that's a big focus. And then just helping our members grow. So within the 20, we've launched Certified Elite as well as a growth mastermind group to get them to $1 million for the MSPs who are lingering right there, not in between, to really push them over the edge to $1 million. And then our Certified Elite will be $5 million and out. And so we're excited about those initiatives. We're providing lots of resources for members to be able to market and to grow.
And I guess in those groups, Crystal, I'm not that familiar with you guys. I know obviously you're building all the great marketing tools they're going to use. Are those pretty much accountability groups as well for the people within the elite or masterminds? So they're kind of pushing each other. Is that the way it works typically?
So we do have what we call squad groups. So it's modeled after the military. So we have squads and we have platoons. Our squad groups are basically accountability groups. And then we have platoons led by leadership of the 20, broken out into categories. So we have security, standards, onboarding, and forgetting one more. Anyway, so we have 4 of those. And so we have the squads, we have platoons, and then we have elite. So once they hit a certain point in the 20, they become elite, and there are additional benefits there, like having our team page on the website, stuff like that, access to some additional marketing materials. So there is an accountability, I guess, piece to that, and that, in Certified Elite, they'll be working closely with Tim, and then in the Growth Mastermind group with our CRO, Mark Elliott. And so he'll be coaching them to get to that point.
That's awesome. And along the way, how do you guys do, I know you build all these tools. Do you guys do like custom one-offs, or you typically try to create a package for those people to use from a marketing material perspective?
We create packages for members in the marketing program. And we limit it so that we won't take more than one MSP in the same area. Obviously, we don't want them to be putting out the same content in the same market.
Well, cool. This has been great. What have I not covered today that you want to talk about? About the 20 or anything?
I think you covered a lot. We would love to do something with Cytracom, in coming weeks or coming months, put together a webinar or do some type of virtual event with you guys. It'd be awesome to get in front of your partners. We actually closed a new MSP, I believe it was last week, who's a Cytracom partner, and said that he wished that he'd heard about the 20 sooner. He thought it was awesome. So I thought, we really need to cross-pollinate and do some events and get, you guys in front of all of our members and get us in front of your partners. Absolutely.
And, I know we talked a little bit about Vision, which, obviously you kind of went through that, but what are some of the other programs? I know there's Propel and Quarterly. How have you guys handled that this year as well? Have those all gone virtual pretty much?
Well, so they were virtual. We actually just had our first live Propel last week. And Propel is our monthly sales training for new members or members who maybe have been around a while and want to come back through. And it's to refine, your pitch and everything that we provide for you, so you can go back and sell. And so we have Propel monthly. We do have another live one coming up in November. And then we will have a live quarterly event in January.
Well, I remember, I guess the last quarterly, I think maybe I was there. It was the Mardi Gras theme, I believe that,
Yes. That was a good time.
Unfortunately, feel like that was the last live event I did this year, and that was a lot of fun.
I know. I
know you guys obviously do a great job, and I think, people that could come and attend those, it's really, obviously, I think, the training you guys provide and just the atmosphere is a great place. And I love the 20 office. It's really impressive for all the things you guys do.
Thank you. I think the atmosphere, the community, we hear time and time again, that's their favorite thing about the 20. And it's really awesome. I've never been part of something like this where the community is so strong. It's really cool.
What are the 2 or 3 things that you tell an MSP to do for their marketing right now? 2020, October 27th.
I would step back and again, number one, market. If you're not marketing, you have to market. You have to start somewhere. But then from there, I would make sure that you have an optimal mix. So when you look at marketing, I typically, there's 3 categories. There's earned, paid, and owned. Earned being, media coverage, press releases, things that you put out, guest posts, things like that, or posts by your clients, so, testimonials, things like that. And then you think about paid, obviously pay-per-click, social ads, things like that. And then owned being assets that you own, like your website, your blog, your social pages, email. Make sure that you are doing a number of things. When it comes to marketing, there's not one magic pill. It's not going to be social ads. It's not going to be Google ads. Make sure that you have an optimal mix, because at the end of the day, it's all about consistency. And you want to make sure that you're doing all these things because they all work in conjunction.
And I guess you guys kind of, I call it fast fail. Do you guys do a lot of testing? So you'll try something and you kind of measure if it's working or not, then you'll adjust and do something different. I know you got a really good sized team to do all that for you now. Is that kind of what you guys do?
We do. Luckily, we do have a good sized team. It's still small enough that it's easy to make changes or to redirect. I like to be, just in the data all the time, looking at things. If something's working great, I'm like, okay, this is awesome. We need to do more of this, or let's change this. This just totally bombed.
I guess budget-wise, too, you look at obviously the successes and you maybe turn up a little budget there and turn it down in other areas that you're not getting success. Is that kind of how you do your decision process typically?
It is. Absolutely.
Well, cool. This has been amazing. I mean, I think we've covered a lot of great topics and definitely love to, figure out how we can do more together, obviously the 20 and Cytracom. But anything else you want to leave us with? Any of these MSPs?
Hey, market. You have to do it. There's such a big market out there. I think the total addressable market for SMB managed services is something like $50 billion.
Wow.
And so it's a huge market out there.
Well, awesome. Well, this has been good. Do you have like a generic email address or website you can direct people to if they want to learn more about the 20?
The20.com. That's THE20.com.
And I guess and obviously I know you're redesigning, but they can get any information and get in touch with your sales team or whoever to kind of get started.
Absolutely.
Well, cool, Crystal. This has been great, and I appreciate your time. And we'll get we'll get this cleaned up and get it posted out there, and we'll be posting out. Love for you can share it to your audience as well.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Connecting the Channel. Our main focus at Cytracom is helping our partners succeed and grow. We're the simplest voice solution to sell and support. To become a Cytracom partner or for more information, check out Cytracom.com.